So, good morning, everyone. I hope I'm audible. Could anybody just confirm it in the chat that okay, great. Thank you, Kumar. Thank you, Manisha Pal. So, good morning, everyone. Today is a very bright Saturday, and we are starting our first session of ESG certificate program. First of all, thank you, everyone, for joining, and we hope to have a very great uh, time learning together, uh, expressing our perspectives regarding sustainability, uh, upskilling ourselves, and have a better future design around sustainability. Uh, Basically, this course we have designed in a sense to create a very strong foundation for ESG. ESG, as you may know, is the current hot topic. It's been there. It's been there for several decades, basically. But now it has got its flow. It's got its heat now because even government mandates are coming regarding ESG. So something like this right now, learning and you know, giving your time towards something like this is going to be very useful. So today onwards, we'll be focusing ourselves into delving into this whole big world of sustainability. Now, when we say ESG, it is just one of the verticals of the whole sustainability era. Sustainability is very wide. We'll be talking about several verticals of the sustainability in the technical aspect, in the theoretical aspect, all the principles you must have heard about BRSR, GRI. It's very confusing when you read, go to Google and search about it and try to understand them. So we'll be making it very easy for you. Climate change. I mean, in fact, even recently we had several incidents in India. Now, to those who don't know, they call it weather change, but people like us know it is the climate change. The effect has started to be now visible. So we need to understand that why is this climate change happening? Second, what can we do towards this climate change? How is this concept of sustainability implemented into resolving this climate change? What is the global scenario? What is the country scenario? What is government's perspective? What can an individual do here? What can a brand do here? Right? Many of you would be executives already working in a esteemed company. uh, you might have got some impetus that okay, now we need to focus more on sustainability, we need more methods. So how can life cycle assessment help in this work of yours? How does knowing the scope 1, 2, 3, right, the whole holy grail of carbon accounting, the greenhouse gas protocol, right, how does that help you out to understand this emission process in your whatever supply chain that is there, for example, right? What is scope 3? Now, scope 1, 2 is something which is easy. Scope 3 is something a little more technical, and it's something the calculation takes a little more time, right? So we'll be talking about that as well. So yeah, it's going to be a very heavily knowledgeable time period that we're going to have now. What I just hope is, what Pro India hope is that it becomes very interactive because it's not just us. You guys must have also experienced something regarding sustainability. So let this be a more interactive session. We'll, tell you whatever we know. You could share your experiences. And the major part of this course is the question and answers and the discussions. Okay. Now, several of, I think not in the same intensity, but what we're going to teach, you would be able to find a little bit of snippets there in the internet about this. But the major part is to ask questions and get the answers from someone who can guide you, right? Our CEO, Mr. Amit sir, would be joining us very shortly. And that would be the session which I'll tell you to be most alert. Ask anything that you want, understand whatever you want to know, right? And it can be technical. It can be very technical that, okay, we studied about climate change and carbon footprinting. How can we calculate carbon footprint? Or it could be something which is very generic, that how does, how can someone learn to do this, and how can someone implement it? Okay. So anything, any doubt, we could talk about that. So we have like 5 more minutes to start this, so we can quickly understand about Pro India before Sir joins us, right? So we have been working towards sustainability for the past 7 years. The two main verticals we have is EPR and ESG. So ESG is sustainability. We do BRSR reporting. We have carbon accounting, and we help in understanding the principles such as CBAM, SASB, sustainability reporting. So that is how we have designed this course according to what we know. I'll just quickly give you a snippet of some works that we've done, because also waste management is something that we heavily focus on, the plastics. So I'll just quickly share a small clip. You could just go through it. Just give me a second. Yeah, so this is something that we have done previously. I'm showing this video so that anybody who's in or around in this vicinity would have a clear idea of what is happening. This is only regarding the waste management part. Please go through
it. What you're seeing behind me is the Jindal Waste to Energy plant. It has 2,000 tons worth of capacity to handle municipal solid waste, which comes in about 400 truckloads. And what's unique about this plant is that it consumes 80% out of that and to convert it into 23 megawatts of energy. How does your waste, which is completely unsegregated, start generating so much of value? That is what we're going to see in this video today.
400 trucks carrying 1800 tons of trash moves into Jindal facility every day. After getting radioactively tested, they are weighed for the content, and in the return as well, they are weighed back so that we know exactly how much weight of waste is coming into the pits. All of this is accumulated into the pits, from where the waste moves into the conveyors into a very unique separation system. This separation system has a baffle which actually moves the lighter particles towards the front, and the heavier particles, they stay back and get filtered and go down to the two other conveyors. But the lighter particles, which are mostly plastics and some other dry waste, goes through a shredding process and moves into the left two conveyors. This is mostly high calorific value dry waste, which moves into conveyors into another storage pit, the RDF storage pit, from where the RDF is picked up and then loaded on to the boiler at a very high temperature and very controlled conditions, which produces no dioxins, and through a very strong filtration system for the exhaust gases, producing no fumes, wheeling 23 megawatts of energy to the Delhi Electricity Board. Then there is a conveyor which is carrying the waste which is compostable, the fine waste, goes through a composting cycle of 28 days, after which it is filtered and bagged as per fertilizer standards, ready to be used. Finally, there is a conveyor which carries the very bottom inert material, the stones mostly, and the construction debris, which moves out in tractors into the landfills.
This is something what we do for plastic waste retrieval and disposal, taking it away from the landfills.
Yeah, so that was one of our works that we've done. So I think Amit sir has joined us. We'll be starting the course just to give a brief introduction about Amit sir, he was a chief sustainability officer with Coca-Cola and several other brands such as Mahindra. He's worked in sustainability for the past 30 years. He's the right guy to ask whatever doubt you have regarding sustainability. Again, not just the theoretical part, but also the practical part. He'll be the special speaker for today. The first session we are going to cover is about climate change and carbon footprint. This is something very close to him. So he'll be giving you a very personal insight towards that subject as well. Okay, so I think, yeah, he's here. So, yeah, we could start. Good morning, sir.
Hi Ashish. Hi everyone. So great day. This is Navratri, so happy Navratri to everyone. And people are starting the work, this kind of training from today. So it's a very auspicious time to start something new. And I really congratulate each of the people who have joined this course. Today's course is also available to some other people as like a trial course just for this session. So there are some people who are like that as well, I think, right, Ashish? Yeah. So perfect, great. I see about 16 odd people here, and we can keep taking some polls, which you can, Ashish, in between, in terms of understanding, and in terms of questions, in terms of clarifications, in terms of anything else. So today's session is on this Zoho meeting invite, but next session onwards is going to be on Google Meet. So the people who have registered for the course, they would have already got a Google invite, a Google Classroom invite, and that they could complete so that they become a student in the course. And there will be recording sessions also available there. There'll be certain quizzes and assignments that will be posted in that classroom meet. So that is something which I would request others also to utilize that particular thing. Great. It may be a good idea to take an introduction from the participants who have taken the course, paid for the course and taken the course. It also is a very good starting point for people like Ashish and me to know from the background point of view, so that many examples can be given from your field. So that makes it a little bit more engaging for this course. So would you be able to get people introduced into this, and we can unmute them? Ashish, can you tell me who all are registered participants, paid participants in this? And you can, since you have the admin rights, you can unmute them, and maybe we can have a quick 2 minutes introduction from the people who are going to stay with us in the course.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So we have Manisha here with us today, as well as Palak.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi, Manisha. Hi, Palak. So others have asked for a recording because it's Navratri and it was very urgent. So probably we could start with Palak or Manisha. Yeah, Palak. Hi. Are you able to?
Hi.
Yeah. Hello. How are you? Yes. Please go on. You could quickly give us a brief of where and how about ESG.
Okay.
Great. Yeah.
So, hi everybody. This side Palak Chawla. I'm currently associated with TVS Motors. So per se, my background is of ergonomics, and then I transitioned to EHS, and now I'm looking forward to transition into ESG. That's why I'm here, and looking forward to this wonderful course. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Palak. And I think Manisha is also here. Manisha, would you like to share a quick brief about the same?
Yeah, hi, hello everyone.
Yeah.
So I, as already I have talked, like introduced myself to Mr. Amit Sasar, and actually I've joined this course because I'm into this field only. If I talk about my studies, I have done my master's in environmental science and currently working as a technical executive in a HVAC company. But I'm more into this technical side. So right now I'm planning to switch my career from like to ESG. So yeah, and from past last year, I'm looking to this Pro India courses, and this year I make a mind that I want to join this.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Manisha. I'm going to guarantee you that's going to be a very good decision of yours, right? Especially
Yes.
auspicious day. Okay. So yeah, I think so. We could start in that case.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let me just share my screen first. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So yeah. So today's session we'll have a slightly quicker session. I think Ashish, you have given a time till 3 o'clock. I don't think that we will
Okay.
ever go on any day for 4 hours. We will go maximum 2 hours. So it's going to be generally between 11 to 1, and sometimes it could be between 12 to 2. So for today's session, outer limit would be something like 12:30, and that is that is because this module is like a test module for others also to look at, and as well this is something many of the ESG practitioners and EHS guys would already know, a bit of it. So we will not talk about carbon footprint as much today as we'll talk about the climate change. Okay. So I mean, the contents for today, of course, is climate change and its causes, impact of the climate change, carbon footprint, GHG management, and approaches to the GHG management. GHG is greenhouse gases. Okay. So the first and most important differentiation or the question is to the group, and no, it's in the third slide itself. What is weather versus what is climate? So can you type into the chat box or in the Q&A section, what do you understand as a difference between weather and climate? So like people say that the weather is very hot, or today's climate is very no humid, let's say. So that is a question I'm going to ask you. If you could just quickly type in the box, what is the difference between weather and climate? I'll give you a minute to type in. Okay, I need to have two laptops to keep switching and seeing this. Anyway, any answers? So
yes, sir. We have one saying weather is temporary, climate is for certain duration.
okay, somewhat. somewhat right. Funny Kumar. Is this the same Funny Kumar that I know? Okay, this is Funny Kumar, not Funny Bhushan. So, Funny, have you been in Coke ever? Funny, have you ever been in Coke? I know of a person called Funny, but that person's full name was Funny Bhushan. So I'm not too sure. Okay, we'll come to this. No, let's come to this. So yeah, you could see on the screen itself that weather can change within minutes or hours, but climate is actually another long-term effect of um, on the earth. And when we say long-term effect, it means that it is over a period of 60, 70, 80 years, year on year. Also, it is not like changing between one day and the second. The number of points at which the climate is recorded, as in the temperature, the humidity, the sun is recorded, is more than 30,000 geolocation points, and these are all standard across the world. And the no, it is not that today's temperature is high. It is the average temperature of 30,000 points, which is changing over a period of decades. I mean, they are always monitored on a daily basis, but when you start tracking them over year and over decade, and especially from 1860 onwards, these numbers have been very accurately captured. So it is from 1860 at least that you can see the effect of climate. And weather is very, very temporary. Climate is something which you can always find some kind of a trend, and we will look at some of the trends as we go forward. So these are some examples of how people are looking at climate. How they're addressing climate in their own operation, and how important it is for them to remain climate positive in some ways. So this is the Almia Group, and they talk about uh, becoming carbon negative by 2040, and it's a extremely aggressive aspiration or target, because cement business, which Dalmia is very high intensity on energy, highly energy intensive, highly coal intensive. Yet they are looking at how to become green and become carbon negative in another 15 years time. Okay, so it is something which is becoming part of businesses responsibility. Okay, so from gray to green. The some of the loans that are being given by International Finance Corporation, Asia Development Bank, World Bank, and even banks in India like SBI and others are towards green funding. And when they look at green funding, they make it much more affordable. So loans are affordable if to the companies which are having green component, or at least having sustainability in mind, uh, in terms of energy usage, energy intensity, or any other activity related to sustainability. And this is very important catalyst, because the difference of 1% on, let's say, a loan of $400 million in a year could become make or break in terms of whether they want to run the capital project or not. So 1% is the kind of difference that one could get if they are looking at they're looking at savings out of some of the capital projects. So many places where corporate loans are at 12 to 14%, the affordable loans for towards green projects are in, let's say, 10 to 12%. So about percent to two difference is there. Now this are some data points. Okay, so you will see in today's session, you will see a lot of data points, and you will see notice here that up to 1920, the temperatures of ocean, global land ocean temperature index, were more or less in a range. They were range bound. You can see that they're all range bound. But then after that, there is a rise in the ocean temperatures. So the rise in ocean temperatures is starting from somewhere where we call it post-industrialization period, or some people say World War II, because after that or during that, a lot of manufacturing had to happen during that time for war, and after that for growth, rebuilding, and few other things. So a lot of industrialization picked up in this period, in the period of 1910 to 1940, in that period. And then that you saw a range that, and this is something that you will find across multiple sustainability graphs, whether it is temperature, whether it's carbon, we'll see that. So some of this is actually very, very real and very apparent. This is before after pictures of glaciers and amount of snow that's on the mountain. And this is a National Geographic survey as well. But more importantly, you must be reading on the news that the second biggest what do you call island, or what do you call the ice, polar ice has broken into the to create the second biggest. Is almost like a continent shape of ice which has broken away from the polar cap just last month. And so much is the heat that this polar ice is melting much faster, and obviously all the other ice is also melting much faster. But so let me ask you this question again. It will be good to hear from more of you that what happens when polar ice melts. What all can be issues if the polar ice melts? Can you type it in the chat box? What all happens when a polar ice melts? I mean, a large polar ice is melting. What all can possibly happen? Wait for some answers. Okay, so sea levels rise, flooding of coastal cities. Great. What else? There are multiple things that happen. Yes, a direct result is rise in sea levels. Are there anything else? Can you think of anything else? Anything in terms of currents, the currents which flow across the sea. There are 2 or 3 currents which move in a particular direction depending on the temperature of the sea water. Anything? Yeah, so altered ocean currents. I think Hiren has written here. Yeah, absolutely.
Global warming as well.
Yeah. So what happens here is that when the sea levels rise, of course, immediate impact is the coastal cities because almost 10 centimeter rise has already happened, and with 2 degree centigrade rise in the temperature, average temperature, 150 cities are supposed to go under the water. 150 cities are the coastal cities are supposed to go underwater, including 3 or 4 of our own country. There is a one country, I'm forgetting the name, has actually gone under the sea completely, and that's because the rise in the seawater, water level. Of course, the country was very small, and those people have exited the country and moved to another country, and that country is now, you know, uh, not cannot be inhabited. It's like it's down under, so it's only visible from satellite. People can't stay in that country. That's a small country, but that's how it is. So here you can see that the iceberg. No, you're talking about. So it is the long-term alteration in the average weather patterns. So weather is part of climate. Climate is not part of weather. Okay, weather is something which can change very frequently, but climate is something which is across 30,000. I told you 30,000 points across the world from 1860 onwards is the temperatures and other things are being noted, and that if it is rising means that across the 30,000 points, if temperature rises, let's say 1.5 degree, which is already there almost post-industrialization, means that in some, and that's average, which means that in some cases it could be 4 degrees, 5 degrees, and in some cases it could be, in some places it could be 0.1 degree, 0.2, because the average is 1.5. Okay, so this slide is also very important. If you read, it says that, and which is a fact, that this temperature rise which is happening in the last post-industrialization is only because of human activity. It's not because of animals. It's not because of any species. It's not because of anything else other than human activities. And this is there was a Nobel Peace Prize given to Al Gore and Dr. Pachori from IPCC for proving this, and this has been now a stated fact that the carbon dioxide increase in the carbon dioxide has increased the temperature, global temperature, and that's why the climate movement has happened. We'll talk about how it creates that, but it's important that you remember that it is only human being which has caused this temperature rise. So there are so this is the country's name. Tuvalu. Tuvalu is a very small country. It was designated as a country, and this is the country which has gone underwater. Also, there is coastal bleaching, which is happening across the coast, Great Barrier Reef, and included, and that is another effect of rising, not only rising temperatures, but also post-industrialization, a lot of bleaching activity, as in materials, pesticides, fertilizers, chemicals going from land into the shores. So this is now a commonplace in India, and this is something that is happening again and again, almost once in a week. We are seeing that we are having a kind of a destructive flooding situation where the entire mountain is crumbling into the river, and it's like a thunderstorm, it's like a cloud burst. The whole ecology is getting disturbed, and you're getting the entire landmass, and we call it landfall. I mean, so the entire landmass from the mountain is coming alongside with the rivers, and this is yesterday we were in I was in one of the sessions with ET and Times of India Sustainability 7th Sustainability Summit. In one of the sessions, there was a professor from IIM Ahmedabad who is chairman of Center of Sustainability from IIM Ahmedabad, and he was saying that such occurrences were once in a decade kind of an occurrence. So you might remember the thing that happened with what is the temple? The Kedarnath temple. When this landfall happened, big boulders came down, and thankfully the temple remained protected. But there were like a huge destruction in Uttarakhand. So that was like, that was at that point in time, it was seen as one-off event. But if you look at this year alone, and it continues to happen, if you look at this year alone, you've seen that in Uttarakhand, Uttaranchal, you have seen that in Jammu, you've seen that everywhere. Everywhere you're seeing that there is such a deluge of rain that the land is, and the mountains are not able to hold it. They're just not able to hold that much rate of water, and then they come they come down along with the water itself, and there is no capacity in the riverbed. Either the riverbed is full because of silt, or the riverbed is full because of construction. Both cases, and you see a huge amount of destruction and lives getting lost. So this professor was saying that what was happening once in 10 years is now happening once in a year. This is the kind of situation. Imagine if you are an insurance company and you have insured people's lives in the mountains, or if you've insured property, if you've insured vehicles, your business, you have to just fold up, because you never thought about such kind of such kind of destruction. You never amortized to such levels. So businesses are just not able to cope. Human beings are not able to cope, and then this is happening now at a much more frequent, at least 10 times, at least 10x from just 5 years ago. We did not see. This year we have seen at least 7 or 8 such landfalls. So can you take a minute and list down from your memory this year where all you have seen such landfalls like this, the whole gushing of water throughout the mountain area and causing a huge destruction. Can you think of those and list it down, please? It will be nice to see how much do you remember, because India's what you call collective memory is really short, so we forget bad events very quickly, and we are always kind of positive in terms of seeing what we can as a day is new. So can you think about which all places you have heard from your memory? Can you tell which all places that you heard had a major thunderstorm, landfall, waterfall? Can you talk about it? I don't see anybody remembering anything. I'm going to write here like Simla, Nainital.
There was a cloudburst in Dehradun.
Dehradun.
Mr. Hiren has mentioned.
Yeah, Dehradun, Mussoorie.
Yeah.
Ladakh.
There was a cloudburst in Dharali in Uttarakhand. This I think 2 weeks ago. That could be a example.
Right.
Yeah, there was one. Jitendra sir is mentioned about Kullu Manali, Dehradun.
Yeah.
Then
in Punjab, a man-made disaster due to heavy rainfall, dam was not able to hold the water. Okay. So, there are many more. Okay. My question to you is, the bigger question is, what happens exactly in this landfall, this kind of deluge? What is happening, and why is the deluge happening? Can you think about why the deluge is happening? The rate at which the rain pours down. Why is that happening right now? I mean, there were rainfall. People accept rain, but the rate at which the rain is coming down is no something which is not planned ever. Like the river bodies, the streams, they will swell up in the monsoon time. But if they swell up, let's say, and they carry 10 times more water, then it will obviously cause flood, right? So the river beds are not capable of it. The cross sectional volume is not good enough to take care of so much of incoming rain. So why is that happening? And somebody tell me, why is that happening? Anyone? Heavy downpour. Yeah, of course, heavy downpour. Why is heavy downpour happening? Why are you seeing such extreme weather events? Even now, there is no. Yeah, you absolutely right. Cloudburst in Kolkata. Manisha is saying that Kolkata. No, people are using boats on the road in Kolkata. 4 people have died in Kolkata. So why is it happening in Kolkata? Did it happen before? Manisha, did you recollect that such cloudburst was there in Kolkata? I mean, in your last 10 years from your memory? Glacial lake outburst floods. Okay, yeah. Jitendra, you are right, absolutely. My question to you is why? Why is that happening? Deforestation, okay. Shifting of climate, okay. What else? I think we're missing the central point. It is in the theme of today's, it is the highlight of today's module. And it is only that, nothing else. So this is my take, okay? Maybe I'm wrong also. This is my take. The take is that if the sea temperatures rise by 1 to 1.5 degree, if the global average temperature rise to 1.5 degree, what will happen? What will happen actually is more clouds will form. Okay, there'll be so much of evaporation from Earth's surface that was not part of the plan. That was not balanced. That was not the season. So, and it is not happening in the season, and sometimes happening in off season. Like now is the time when Durga Puja has started in Kolkata. So why is it happening now? The temperatures are not right. It's not that on a particular day across the 30,000 points, the temperature has risen to by 1.5 degree. It is because on an average, the temperatures are rising. No, it's higher than yesteryears. So what is happening in situations like this is that the volume of water which is getting evaporated from tropical areas, from sea, from wherever, all put together, is all becoming cloud, and then they have to condense. They have to fall somewhere. You can't keep holding the cloud in the air, and that much volume will have to come down. So it's coming down on the cities, on the mountains, in the normal plains, everywhere. It's coming down, and you're seeing much more rain. And again, so there are extremities in rain. The extremity is that somewhere where it was supposed to rain 10 centimeters or 10 millimeters, it is raining 24 centimeters in a day. That is huge, right? And that's like that city cannot contain. Which city is left in this country or any other country in the world where you don't have a waterlogging problem? Waterlogging or city getting flooded is because city is not expected to handle 1 feet of water coming down in a day. It was never designed to do that, right? So that's how you see a deluge. That is how you see the effect of the deluge. That's why you see all of that. So coming back to the presentation, all of this what you're having and you're seeing is the effect of a global rise in temperature, because just 1 degree rise, if you just do a calculation of amount of like 70%, 74% of the world is covered, earth is covered with water or ice caps. Only 22% is land, and there that much evaporation is happening, right? So much evaporation with 1 degree temperature rise, obviously that much of cloud will have to settle down somewhere. Okay, so now coming to Paris Agreement and the realization that anything beyond 2 degrees centigrade post-industrialized levels is something that is not reversible. It is called a state of Anthropocene. That means anthro means human being, and an extremity where it will be impossible to go back beyond. Once the earth temperatures rise to 2 degree on an average, it'll be difficult to go back to any normalcy. So we are at 1.5, and it's expected that 2030 the temperatures will cross the 2 degree mark. So 197 countries have signed up in the Paris Agreement to not let it go beyond 2, to contain or create pathways to keep it below 1.5. So this is the Paris Agreement. And how close are we to that? So there are scenario planning, and this is IPCC. So if you look at, there are multiple scenarios here, and the rate at which it is going, it is expected that. So anyway, we have touched, I think, 1.4 already. And by 2030 or 2032, it's expected to touch 2 degrees. So this is a slightly older sheet. If you see here, 2017 is the data. So if you look at current data, it has risen much more rapidly. And so if we are able to create, safeguard ourselves through controlling the carbon dioxide in the air, then there is a way of reversing it, or at least making it flat. So, this is Sudhanshu Shukla, looking at Earth from the Space Center. I think not all of us have the luxury of doing so, but it will fade as we know, we move along to 2 degrees centigrade. So there's a lot of causes of climate change, but we will talk about the greenhouse effect, and that is the most important cause of the climate change or the global warming. So imagine that there is a source of light, which we have seen everyday basis, sun. When it comes and hits the earth, then there is if there was no stratosphere, if there was no atmosphere across and around earth, then this would have simply got reflected back. So there is an atmosphere which in which these rays and the heat is reflected back from the stratosphere, from the first part of atmosphere. It is reflected back, and because of that, it creates like a blanket around the earth. Okay, this is extremely important. This is very important because Imagine if you were in another planet which did not have atmosphere, no oxygen, no carbon dioxide, no nitrogen, nothing. Then this reflection, I mean, when the sun would have been there would have been some temperature. But when the sun is not there, and because the planet is rotating around the sun, and there'll be some parts when there is no sun there, then all the reflection will take away all the heat from the surface of the earth, from the surface of that particular planet. And so the planet would become cold, and it will not be inhabitable. Imagine 2-degree temperature in the body, 1-degree temperature in the body. If it rises by just 1 degree Fahrenheit, not even centigrade, you will notice that you have fever. And here we're talking about the complete Earth, and the temperature fluctuations could be about 300 degrees centigrade, just if there was no atmosphere around the Earth. So this is a blanket which is very much necessary. But then this is also a problem. I'll show you in the next slide. There's something called greenhouse gas effect. So the greenhouse effect, sorry, not greenhouse gas effect, the greenhouse effect, which means that there are certain gases in the atmosphere which contain and reflect the heat back into the earth, and therefore it doesn't allow it to go. Okay, and carbon dioxide is the most important one within that. While carbon dioxide is most important greenhouse gas, but carbon dioxide is not the only one. But it is like carbon dioxide is like a measure for other gases also. For example, methane is more potent than carbon dioxide. It contains more heat than carbon dioxide. So almost 28 times. But the quantity of methane is much smaller. So carbon dioxide is the large part of the gas, the atmosphere, which has this greenhouse gas effect, which means it has the capability of reflecting back, absorbing and reflecting back the heat from the sun. And that means that the blanket is now becoming thicker. This blanket around the earth is becoming thicker. Okay, so so when the blanket is thicker, obviously what happens is the temperature starts rising. So that is the effect of the greenhouse gas. And greenhouse effect is like, imagine that you have a glass house in the open, in the farm. So if you have a glass house in the farm and you don't have any ventilation, then all the reflection, internal reflection in the glass from the sun rays coming into the glass house will be internally reflected, but it will stay, and the heat will stay within the glass house, and that's how the temperature inside the glass house will continue to go up, and that's why it's called greenhouse effect. So climate change and its impact, we've talked about some impacts here in terms of ecosystems. Food is another major area of impact. So the food producing zones, if they experience temperature rise, not only it will be difficult to do agriculture there, but also the yields will come out to be much lower. The water will evaporate, and the plants will not be used to extreme temperatures. Okay, so again, another image of change in terms of the ice cap, the polar ice cap, and shrinkages of let's say rivers and lakes. Also, you can see some at certain temperatures, even the lakes behave differently. And you can see how much of the snow from Antarctica has reduced. This is very, very, very alarming. Okay, this is very alarming, and this results in the global currents, and with the sea current is also the air current. which moves along with the sea. I mean, so if the sea moves in a certain way because the cold water has to move in a certain direction, also the air also moves alongside with that. So the entire current is now becoming unpredictable. Okay, so now we come to carbon footprint, but more importantly, the important aspect here is that why we start talking about carbon footprint. Why carbon? So can you give us some ideas of why we discuss carbon footprint? You must have heard carbon footprint so many times. Carbon related no temperatures and increase and other things, no, net zero and so many other things. So I want to know from you why carbon footprint is becomes something which is very, very important. Why carbon footprint? Anyone? Last week, Trump has said that he does not believe in any of this carbon footprint stuff. He does not believe in renewable energy. This is all a sham. One should get out of it very quickly. These are very expensive ways, and it doesn't result in anything. Nothing has happened. Everybody is alive. That's what he says. See, we are all here. I mean, he said this in the UN, in the UNGC. So, United Nations General Assembly, UNGA. Trump is saying the biggest, richest country in the world, and the state head of that country is saying that this global warming is all sham. So, any reactions to that in this group? So, greenhouse gas, because carbon is being trapped in our atmosphere. Palak is saying that. Yeah, absolutely. Sachin is saying that it is the emission of GHG. So it's a very straightforward question, a straightforward answer. The answer is that carbon dioxide has been proven to be the reason for global warming. Is the intensity of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere today, which has risen. We'll see a chart somewhere. I think in maybe, if not today, maybe another day, you will see a chart where you will see how flat it had been till pre-industrialization, and how rapidly or asymptotically or how vertically it has gone just in the last 70 years. So you'll have a kind of appreciation of this fact. But it is fact that carbon dioxide has risen. It is also fact that increased carbon dioxide has caused increased heat storage capacity of the atmosphere, and also it has increased the temperature. Okay, so coming back, carbon footprint is the amount of carbon that human activities, whether it's whatever scope you take, whatever boundary level you take, it's taking that much of putting that boundary to the operations and defining how much carbon it is generating, the entire operations. Okay. And reducing carbon footprint means reducing the effect of climate, or rather not letting the climate go to Anthropocene and 2-degree temperature rise. So there are multiple ways of carbon footprint reduction, and it could be energy efficiency, which means that you're doing the same amount of work but you're using less energy. Green buildings, because the buildings of 2050 has 70% of those buildings have not been built in the world yet. So 70% of the buildings of 2050 are still something which has not been built. But even today in the cities, the amount of buildings which you can see is generating so much about amount of carbon dioxide through the air conditioners, through the glasses, internal greenhouse effect, the reason of people inhabiting those buildings. Then it is plantation, which is a source or a sink rather. Sorry, not a source, but a sink. Green transportation, because transportation happens to be the number 2 reason for increased carbon dioxide, and also waste. Waste reduction and recycling. One of the reason of recycling is whenever you recycle, you pick up the product at a later stage of production. So that means from plastic to plastic. So from bad plastic or waste plastic to good plastic. But the big part of generation from fossil fuel to plastic, that one energy you don't consume again. And that's why you tap the product in the middle of the cycle. And that's why it's called recycle. Okay. Water conservation is another thing. Okay. So there are multiple ways: reduce, offset, credit, and capture. And I think we will discuss a little bit more about it in the next session. We'll go deeper into this, how to go about in step by step. But there has to be a greenhouse gas management system or a system in the organization or in your own self or for the country, to measure, reduce, monitor, and report. Okay, so I think, Ashish, we will probably stop here, because then now we're talking about controls in terms of what is who controls how much, and there are different ways of controlling the stakeholder, whether it's equity or it is financial or operational control. But we'll talk about it alongside with the scope 1, 2, 3 in the next session. Okay. I will rather stop here and maybe take some questions from people if they have any, and go from there. To know how much carbon is produced by our operations while utilizing the resources. Yeah, absolutely right. So, Ashish, you mentioned that some of our people who have registered have not joined today because of the Navratri time, right?
Yes.
So, for those who have, for those whose class this one is, which is the the free experience sessions, I can only say that each of our modules are designed to give you certain solid takeaways, and there are quizzes at the end, which we'll put it in the next group, because next session, so that our other teams also can take it, because some of the people are absent here today. And what I also have to say is that when we have this course, and some of the course material is actually explained here in this certification program, which is, if you see carbon accounting and GG inventory protocol, advanced life cycle assessment management, net zero strategy, energy water management, and resource efficiency. There is a software that we will work upon. It's called ProTech. And then we look at the frameworks in which we can report. So frameworks are extremely important. It takes care of a standard way of reporting, so that you don't miss anything, or you don't misreport, or you don't under-report or over-report. And there are that is why framework is extremely important. Obviously, for people in terms of who are transitioning, like some people here talked about, the two people talked about that they're into EHS or they are into something other than ESG, but they want to transition into ESG. That's where we come in, not by only giving capability enhancement, but also suggesting those people to industries and saying that okay, you can apply here, or if you apply, I'm the one who will who can give you the recommendation, put in a good word and things like that. So in today's session, we talk about GHG, but we are going to stop right here and pick it up from scoping and add to scope in the next session. So the next session we will definitely talk about scope 1, 2, 3, and also the control methods of accounting, and how to kind of achieve net zero, and what are the different steps of first removing or reducing and then replacing energy needs, and then coming to offsetting and few other things. Energy efficiency is an extremely important aspect, because when you implement ISO 50001, there is a lot of benefit that comes your way, not only because of state energy efficiency and related cost reduction, but also government gives a lot of incentives to companies who are more energy efficient. Banks give incentives to companies in forms of if you want to replace a 75 kilowatt motor with more efficient motor, banks will give you a loan for buying that motor at substantial reduction in the interest rates. There are schemes against that, so we'll talk about in those sessions. Water is very important today. Water is seen as a commodity which is generally available, but being in Coca-Cola, I can say that we had never had that kind of a view. We always treated it with respect and conserved it, remained water positive, made sure that it is equitable, because wars are fought on water, and water is, while it is everybody's resource, but then if one industry starts drawing too much water and the neighborhood does not have it, then that industry will have a huge problem in terms of living in the society. So water is, especially the fresh water, is really scarce. I mean, it's not 70% of the water in the sea that is fresh water. None of that water can be used for drinking unless you pass it through a very high intensive exercise of desalinating that water. Waste management, again, extremely important aspect. We've heard 2 days ago, I heard the news saying that 100% of Adani's facilities is now zero waste to landfill, and that is something that is becoming a norm. Like zero liquid discharge, zero waste to landfill is becoming a norm. So I remember in my time in 2012 and 2013, we decided that we will not give any of our waste to landfill. We will rather send it to maybe cement plants, but we will not let it sit on the ground, because sometimes it leaches down and then it can even pollute the water bodies. We have a full module on renewable energy, and this renewable energy is again very important, because you don't have to spend a ton of money to put a solar panel on your roof or a windmill, but still there are methods like PPO, a power purchase agreement, renewable power purchase obligation, and other ways of utilizing renewables by net and gross metering, that you can still have energy at substantially low rates. And I mean, yesterday again we were in the same one of the sessions, Peak XV, the venture capital fund, which has a big what you call exposure in sustainability areas. They talk about 85% of their money is going in renewable energy and EVs. So energy. is something, whether it's wind or it is solar and electrical vehicles, that is taking away 85% of their money. So this is a huge sector, and it continuously is growing, and it will continue to grow, because when at an OPEX level, from 8 rupees, 9 rupees to 12 rupees, and let's say in Gujarat, you get energy, grid energy, and you can get something like 2 rupees or 2.5 rupees. The biggest deal that has happened last week is 2.6 rupees of solar power, which is inclusive of storage, which means that um, the solar power is available to you day or night, which means that the solar power is stored, and after storage, they give you a constant stream of solar power with the battery storage facilities at 2 rupees 60 paisa, which is, let's say, 4 times cheaper than the grid. So you can imagine, if you just want pure solar, you are now getting it at 1 rupee 50 paisa, 1 rupee 20 paisa, and things like that. So then the next session talks about life cycle assessment. Uh, Again, extremely important, because we think that our factory is the place where we do all our efficiencies, but factories are only sometimes less than, it's a single digit, less than 10% of the carbon dioxide the entire value chain has. It is your suppliers, it is your product, it is the mining, it is taking out minerals from earth, it is a distribution on the other side with the distributors, and finally it is also the product. Let's say if you made a washing machine, then the washing machine is consuming energy when it is at the customer end. And if suppose you made the washing machine 10% more efficient for water, then imagine each cycle of wash, it is saving you 1 to 2 liters. 1 to 2 liters over, let's say, 300 cycles in a year, that is a big difference. That much saving that you can do when you design for environment. So when you design the product for environment, you don't only look at how low carbon footprint is your factory. Okay, so we'll spend a lot of time around LCA. There are 2 modules to that, and then there are other sustainability topics. And by the time this session, in 2 months' time, we might add 2 or 3 more modules to this, because this was last time module. So we might add module for frameworks. We will add module for legalities like BRSR, GRI, and some other things, EPR as well, so that you are absolutely current with what is going on in the session. Okay, so Ashish, I'm going to stop here. This is available to everyone. They can see it on their web pages as well, and we can take 1 or 2 such questions now. But I am mindful of it being Navratri time, and also some people not being there, so that we take the bulk of the session or some part of the session to the next module.
Yes.
And you can, if you would like to continue, you can, offering this bunch of students or people to maybe the same kind of a rate that we have given on an offer, if they want to pick it up, and that way this remains in continuum, and this first module also becomes part of their learning curve, or their course structure. So I leave you with that. If anybody has any questions up till now, I'll be too happy to answer. That is, we need to know how much carbon is produced by operations while utilizing the resource. Yeah, I think this last comment from Palak, yes, we will definitely discuss carbon produced by the operations, but more importantly, through LCA, we will discuss carbon produced from cradle to gate. From the cradle, which means from where the product is, from where the materials are mined, all the way to your gate. Sometimes that is also very important to note, no, especially for infrastructure industries? Okay, Ashish,
Yes, sir.
you would like to continue?
Yes, sir. I'll do one thing for everyone here. I'll just summarize and make it comprehensive of what we did today. So we've understood the basics of climate change, the foundation of climate change, the basic concepts of atmosphere and how the heating is affecting and creating the climate change, the cloud bursts, some technical aspects of carbon footprinting. Now, sir had mentioned about Trump coming out with a no carbon footprint decision, but before that, we saw Obama administration leading it, accepting that industrial countries have, for 200 years affected the country, the whole environment, and developing economies such as India could be helped out. But Trump just came in and just took a U-turn about it. So these are very technical aspects that we have to understand. And sir put in a very good insight about that. And later then he discussed about how, we'll be talking more about in depth about the GHG protocols, especially the LCAs, and how that can be implemented into the several industries that people are here from. Like one person had mentioned about TVS, and sir just explained how the LCA takes from the part of the mining till how it comes to their factory. So this was a very small summary about what we've done today, and from here on now we'll be taking off in a very higher intensity, right? And the class starts from the next week onwards. We expect everybody to join in. Someone had asked about how ESG is affecting the MSME, and Pro India has been very effectively part of the MSME environment, and we'll be talking about that in depth as well. So yeah, I think, sir, you could in that case just in that case I would like to thank you for having this insightful session. Obviously, because of the design of the module that we have, we couldn't delve into more technical expertise about this, but whatever level you have given was very insightful for everyone. So I'll take it on from here, sir.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, Ashish. So you could also reach out to people independently
Yes,
of this.
Definitely.
And I don't know whether if I exit, then will the whole thing shut down?
Probably not, sir. If you could just leave, that would be.
Let me just try that. Okay.
Yes. I think he has left because the screen got. Okay. Anyway, so see, when we were talking about sustainability, one of the biggest terms in sustainability, like why is the country driving towards sustainability, has a global effect, because globally there is something known as that is happening as the Conference of Parties, COP, right? That's a byproduct of the UNFCCC, United Nations framework for climate change. Now, that is something that started long back after post the World War II, but its actual design came in 1992. And since then onwards, every year or probably every 2 years, we are having something known as the Conference of Party. Right now in 2025, we're standing at COP30, which is going to happen this November in Brazil. So majority of the implementations that has come into India has come from this COP, right? So we'll be discussing of that as well. The Paris Agreement that sir had mentioned was one of the biggest conference of party ever happened in Earth, and from where came the biggest decisions of sustainability, right? India had put its nationally determined contributions that by this year we'll be bringing down our energy usage from the fossil fuels and we'll be using more renewable energy. That is why we have the renewable energy module in with us, because it's very important to understand what this concept is about. How much energy is coming from solar, how much is coming from hydro, how are big industries implementing them. Yeah, so that is there. And there are several in the area of waste, right? There are several draft policies that are coming from government, e-waste policy. There is solid waste management policy. There is hazardous waste policies. We'll be talking about them. So yes, the world of sustainability is very wide. We are trying to put it into a into a proper paradigm and give it to you in a tablet form. We hope that after this you'll be very much become a foundational expert in this area. Okay, that is something, not just hoping, it will be a guarantee. From the policy side, you will be informative. The technical areas we'll get into probably the third or fourth module onwards. The technical aspects would come in. We'll have specialist speakers. We have one Mr. Dr. Amresh Kumar, who's worked in the field of EV for 30 years. Now, 30 years of EV is something very huge, because EV, a lot of people started knowing very recently. But how its genesis came in several years ago. He's there. He'll be taking that. For green building, sir had mentioned, right? We have Miss Apurva Sinkar, who's a green building expert and has worked in this field for several years. She'll be coming in and giving her expertise that how can you design a building to reduce its energy requirements, right? Right now, you would see in India, there are several green building companies who are working for America. Okay, because America gives a lot of funding and tax benefits for buildings that are designed very energy efficiently. Now it's beginning in India now, right? So, banks are ready to give more loans towards buildings who have more loans and lesser interest rates towards buildings who have who are more energy efficient, right? So if you understand that basic, like how, at least how the framework is there, how the legality towards it gives you an upper hand in whatever project that you're coming into. So yeah, as I mentioned again, it is going to be very inclusive. It is going to be very wide as well, very extensive for everyone from very different verticals. Yeah, by the time the certification ends, you will be in a position of getting into a very better opportunity. So is there anybody who wants to ask anything more? We could have a discussion, or I think Abhay Saxena has such basic insight. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Palak has asked whether we will be touching upon sustainable finance as well. Of course, we will be talking about sustainability finance, because when we talk about environment, what people think is trees, water, and everything. But globally and even nationally, when we talk about environment, it is finance that is holding it. Okay, like for example, we are trying to get into a project with WWF, for example. Okay, they come out with a project. The main areas of contention comes at the finances. Okay, and not just WWF. I'm talking about any project, right? There are projects that come from United Nations. There are GIZ projects. There are government projects. Any project, environment project, has a big foundational area of the sustainability finance. So we'll be putting a lot of focus on that as well, because I think Palak mentioned that she's an EHS officer. So when you're an EHS officer, you have to look towards the financial aspects of a project as well. We are very well aware of that. We have trained several EHS officers towards that. So yes, we will be talking about sustainable finance as well. So yeah, anybody has anything to ask? Yeah, so one of the reasons why we had this class today, this introductory class today, is because we got to know that several people want to join our course but couldn't join this week, and October onwards they'll be finding more time. So what we thought would be to give you a stand to understand what we'll be talking about and what is this foundational area of sustainability and environment. So the next onwards, like we had, I think, 3 people who had joined our course today here. Others couldn't join. So there was Palak, there was Manisha ma'am, and then was Dinagaran sir. First of all, thank you to all three of them, and thank you to everyone else who found time to come in and join. Okay, I think nobody has any. You can even ask something specific if you want to ask. Will be 5 minutes. Just about the course, but about the sustainability as well. You could ask. Okay. Hiren sir had asked about the MSME and ESG. Yeah. So, sir, as of now, the BRSR reporting, which is part of the ESG sustainability reporting, is only mandatory for the SEBI top listed companies, right? The top 1,000 companies. The focus has now shifted to MSMEs. Like we recently were part of this conference called as GCPRS, which was dedicated only for MSMEs. And every year there are at least 30 to 40 conferences that are happening only for the MSMEs. And on one of the areas that is discussed by the guests are the people from the ministries, and they talk about the ESG frameworks for MSME. So how this can be part of the MSMEs, because this right as of now, in the next probably 2 years or 3 years, the ESG reporting will not be mandatory for MSMEs, but the funding aspect, like I think Palak had asked, if would there be sustainability finance that we're talking about. MSME right now don't have a design to understand how much carbon footprint they have, right? Initially, they are small, right? The team is small, their work is small, but when they expand, they start looking for funding. Now, the funding will become part of this this chain of focusing on sustainability. So that route would be taken towards MSME. That if MSME are able to show some kind of sustainability measures that they have, right? Some ESG measures that they have implemented into their work. Some, like for example, they have done something in waste management or water management or energy efficiency, right? If they are able to show something like that in the ESG sphere, the funding aspect becomes more easier for them, and especially the access to the financial institutions, right? Getting loans become more easier for the MSMEs. So something which had a very clear bifurcation till now, that the top companies will have ESG, BRSR reporting, small companies, MSME will not have, is becoming a gray area now. It is blurring out. Even the MSMEs are now not expected, but are taking measures to put in some aspects of ESG into that, right? Like for example, FICCI recently had a MSME event where they were talking about how to implement ESG into MSME, and their point was exactly this: that small companies have, started implementing these frameworks because the funding aspects are wanting them to do. Okay, so right now, ESG and SME will have a uh, more focus on financial side rather than the environmental side. But from here, it will become, the balance would be created of 50 being financial, 50 being environment, because it is true, the output, that the waste outcome or the waste pollution that comes from MSME is very less as compared to the big brands. So it's more about financial today. Yeah. Uh, Kamlesh has asked, how do we calculate the water positive? Okay, yeah. So, sir had mentioned that he was in Coca-Cola, and when he was there in Coca-Cola, they never misused water, right? Uh, the reason being that is, for a very long time there was even a debate that most of these holding brands are wasting water, but eventually it was found that they were actually water positive. Okay, now what does water positive is mean that while there is a input of water that is coming out, there was a waste water that is going out, right? The input and output had a different ratio towards it. Water positivity means when this ratio changes and the output is of the wastewater is less, and there are measures that have implemented to recycle this water and make it useful again. Okay, so there we calculate and we come out with a water positivity. Uh, there was this issue of water table reduction, okay, and leaching of let's just say hazardous elements into the water table, right? Uh, there we had the solid waste management and electronic waste management, where this leaching was stopped and the contamination of water reduced, and the usable area of water increased, and we became water positive. So when we talk about a brand being water positive, what they show is that they calculate and show that the water usage is less, and in fact they have implemented measures of uh, reusing it. Now the calculation methods, again, it is very technical. We will get into that at a later stage. Uh, but yeah, that is a very important area of discussion as well. Abhay Saxena. Yeah, definitely, Abhay. I'll share you the course details. Don't worry. Okay, in that case, we'll just end this. Okay, so guys, just a final reminder. Next week, Saturday, our batch would be locked. It would only be for the people who have joined the course, and it will be a proper 2.5 hour class that will start. It's majorly on Saturdays and Sundays both. There are few weeks like Diwali is coming, so we'll be having a weekend off at that time. Some weekends we'll have only on Saturdays or only on Sundays, because there are some. This is the festive season, so we don't want to bring in people at a very long time. So yeah, okay. I hope to. I hope this was very insightful for you. I hope to see you guys probably next week onwards. I would also like to thank again Dinagaran sir, Manisha, and Palak for joining us, for joining the course. And I hope the others who have joined us will be coming up with the course the next week as well. Thank you. Happy Navratri to everyone.